Welcome to English Insights. Today we begin a special story. It's simple but powerful. It's about stress, something many of us feel but few talk about. Let me ask you this. Have you ever worked so hard that you forgot how to breathe? You wake up every day with too many things to do. You study hard, work hard, and try not to let anyone down. But in the end, you feel empty, like something is missing. If that sounds like your life, you're not alone. This is the story of Lena, a university student. Her story is not just about her, it's about many students and young people today. Smart, hardworking, full of dreams, but struggling to keep going every day. So take a deep breath and let's begin. The Pressure We Carry, a Student's Story. Part 1. The Build-Up. Lena was a 22-year-old medical student. She lived in a small apartment near her university. Every day, she woke up at 6 a.m. and went to the hospital for her training. After that, she had classes and then studied late into the night. Her life was busy, fast, and full of pressure. She didn't complain. She believed that being tired was normal. After all, she wanted to be a good doctor. Work hard now, rest later, she told herself. She often skipped meals or ate fast food while studying. She didn't have time to meet her friends or go out. There was always something to read, something to do, or something to finish. Her parents were proud of her. They called her every weekend and asked about her grades. Lena always smiled and said, "Everything is fine." But deep inside, she was not fine. She started to feel small changes in her body. Her head hurt often. She couldn't sleep well, and when she woke up, she still felt tired. Sometimes, her heart beat too fast for no reason. She also forgot small things, where she put her phone, what day it was, or even simple words in class. "Maybe I just need coffee," she laughed to herself. But coffee didn't help much. She began to feel nervous before class. Her hands would shake a little and her chest felt tight. She told herself to be strong. She didn't want to look weak in front of her teachers or classmates. One day, her friend Maya asked, "Are you okay, Lena? You look really tired." "I'm fine," Lena said quickly. "Just a busy week." Maya looked worried. "Maybe you should take a break." "A break?" Lena laughed. "I can't. I have too much to do." That night, Lena stayed up until 3 a.m. to finish a report. Her eyes burned and her back hurt, but she kept typing. She told herself, "Just 2 more days, then I can sleep." But 2 days turned into 4, then 5. The weekend came, but instead of resting, she used it to study for a big test. On Sunday night, her mother called. Lena didn't answer. She lay in bed, looking at the ceiling. Her mind was full of thoughts. What if I fail the test? What if I forget everything? What if I disappoint everyone? Her heart beat faster and faster. She closed her eyes, but she could not sleep. Hours passed. The sky turned gray. A new day began, and she still felt heavy and slow. At school, she smiled and tried to act normal. But inside, she was like a machine that was working without rest. Her body was tired, and her brain was tired too. She wanted to cry but didn't know why. Lena didn't know it, but she was showing signs of stress. She thought stress was something big, something that happened to people with serious problems. She didn't understand that stress can grow slowly. It can start with small things: less sleep, less food, too much work, and too little rest. Lena was not lazy. She was not weak. She was just human. And humans need rest. But Lena didn't stop. She thought she could keep going. She didn't want to let anyone down. Not her parents, not her teachers, and not herself. And so, she continued to push through the pain. But the body and mind can only take so much. Soon, something would have to break. Part 2. The Collapse. Monday morning came quickly. Lena had only slept for 3 hours. She drank a big cup of coffee and walked to the hospital for her training shift. Her legs felt heavy. Her eyes were red. But she told herself to keep going. This week was very important. She had a big test on Thursday, a group presentation on Friday, and 3 night shifts at the hospital. There was no time to rest, no time to breathe. During her shift, Lena tried to focus on the patients, but her head felt foggy. She forgot names, confused numbers, and had to ask her supervisor for help more than once. Her hands were shaking again. "Are you okay?" her supervisor asked. "Yes, just a little tired," she replied. When she got home, she tried to study, but the words on the page didn't make sense. She read the same sentence 5 times and still didn't understand. She felt like her brain was full of noise. "What's wrong with me?" she whispered. The next few days were even worse. On Tuesday night, she had a shift at the hospital until 2 a.m. Then she went home and studied until 5 a.m. She took a short nap, then woke up at 7 to attend class. Her body started to feel strange. Her heart beat fast, even when she sat still. Her hands felt cold and sweaty. Sometimes she felt like she couldn't breathe deeply. She also started to feel dizzy, like the world was spinning slowly. But still, she didn't stop. She kept going. "I just need to make it to Friday," she told herself. On Wednesday night, Lena studied in the library. She was alone. The building was quiet. Outside, the sky was dark and the streets were empty. She drank more coffee and typed her presentation. Her eyes started to blur. Her back hurt. Her neck was stiff. She stood up to get some water, but her legs felt weak. She sat back down, holding her head. Her heart was beating so fast it scared her. "I'm just tired," she whispered. But then, everything went black. Lena woke up in a hospital bed. Bright lights above her, the smell of disinfectant, the sound of machines. A nurse stood next to her and smiled. "You're awake. You fainted in the library. Someone found you and called for help." Lena blinked. Her body felt like it had no energy. Her mouth was dry. Her brain was slow, like it was underwater. What happened? she asked softly. You passed out, the nurse said. You were dehydrated, underfed, and exhausted. Later, a doctor came to talk to her. You've been pushing yourself too hard, he said gently. Your body shut down. It couldn't keep going. Lena looked away. She felt embarrassed. This is not weakness, the doctor continued. This is stress, serious stress. Your mind and body are sending you a message. Enough. Lena stayed in the hospital overnight. She didn't study. She didn't check her phone. She just lay in bed, listening to the quiet. For the first time in weeks, she didn't feel like she had to do anything. The next day, the doctor came back. I recommend you take a short break from school, he said. You need rest, food, sleep, and support. Without it, things will only get worse. But I have a test. A presentation, Lena started. You only have one body, one mind, the doctor said. If you don't care for them, you can't care for others either. You're studying to be a doctor. You must first learn to care for yourself. Lena didn't know what to say. Her heart felt heavy. She had worked so hard. She didn't want to fall behind. But maybe the doctor was right. That evening, her mother came to visit. She sat beside Lena and held her hand. Why didn't you tell us you were feeling this way? She asked, her eyes full of worry. I didn't want to disappoint you, Lena whispered. I wanted to be strong. Her mother hugged her tightly. Strong doesn't mean silent, Lena. You're not alone. Lena's body had reached its limit. Her mind had crashed. She had tried to do everything, to be perfect, to stay strong. But now she saw the truth. Stress had been building for weeks, and she hadn't listened. Now, she had to make a choice. Keep going the same way, or stop and find a new path. One thing was clear. She couldn't go back to the old Lena. Something had to change. Part 3. The Reflection. Lena stayed home for 2 weeks after leaving the hospital. At first, it was hard. She wasn't used to doing nothing. She felt guilty for not studying, not reading, not working. She worried about falling behind in class. She checked her email every hour, afraid of missing something important. But her doctor had been clear. Rest is not a waste of time. It is part of healing. So, Lena tried to rest. She slept for 8 hours each night. She ate full meals again, simple food but warm and healthy. She drank water instead of coffee. She sat by the window in the morning and watched the sky. Sometimes she listened to music. Sometimes she just breathed slowly. It felt strange. The world outside kept moving fast, but her world was quiet now. For the first few days, she felt like a failure. But slowly, a new feeling came. Relief. One afternoon, Lena picked up a notebook and started writing. Not for class, not for a test, just for herself. She wrote, I feel tired, not just in my body, but in my heart. I don't want to live in fear every day. I want to be strong, but not by hiding my pain. Each day she wrote more. She wrote about the hospital, about her friends, about school. She wrote about her parents and the pressure she felt. She wrote about always trying to be perfect. Then one memory came back to her. She was 10 years old. It was the day she got 95% on a math test. She was proud and ran home to show her dad. But her dad looked at the paper and said, "Why not 100%? That small question had stayed in her heart for years. Lena didn't blame him now. He wanted the best for her. But something inside her had changed that day. Since then, she always felt like she had to be perfect to be loved. She closed her notebook and stared out the window. The sky was blue. A small bird flew by. She whispered, "I'm tired of chasing perfect." The next day, Lena had her first session with a school counselor. She was nervous. She didn't know what to expect. The counselor was a kind woman named Dr. Sarah. She smiled warmly and said, "This is a safe space. You can say anything you want here." Lena sat quietly for a minute. Then she said, "I don't think I'm strong anymore." Dr. Sarah nodded. "Why do you think strength means hiding pain?" Lena didn't answer right away. The room was quiet. For the first time, she felt like someone was really listening, not to her grades or her skills, but to her feelings. She talked for nearly an hour about her fears, about the pressure, about the night she collapsed in the library. At the end, Dr. Sarah said, "Lena, stress doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've been strong for too long, without rest." That sentence stayed with Lena for days. She began reading more about stress. She learned that stress is not only in the mind, it affects the whole body, the heart, the stomach, the sleep, the memory. She learned that many students, even doctors, suffer in silence. She was not alone. She also learned about something called burnout, when your body and mind shut down after too much pressure for too long. She checked all the signs: tired all the time, no joy in daily life, always worried, can't sleep, can't focus. She had been living with burnout for months, but now she was finally waking up. During her break, Lena did one more thing. She reconnected with people she had pushed away. She called Maya, her friend who had asked if she was okay weeks ago. "I wasn't okay," Lena said, "but I didn't want anyone to know." Maya replied, "I understand, but next time let me help. You don't have to carry everything alone." Lena smiled. "I'm learning that." She also talked to her parents. At first it was hard. She didn't know how to explain her feelings, but her mom and dad listened. "We're sorry if we made you feel you had to be perfect," her mother said softly. "We love you, not your grades." Lena cried that night, but they were healing tears. After 2 weeks, Lena went back to class. She didn't try to be the top student anymore. She still worked hard, but she gave herself breaks. She said no when her body needed rest. She joined a weekly yoga class, She wrote in her journal each night, and she continued seeing Dr. Sarah once a week. She even helped create a small support group for other students dealing with stress. Something had changed in her. She still felt stress sometimes. That was normal. But now she saw it, named it, faced it. She didn't fight alone. She had tools. She had people. And most of all, she had herself. More honest, more aware, more real than ever before. Part 4. The Change. Lena didn't become a new person overnight. Even after her break, even after the hospital, some habits were still hard to change. She still woke up early and made long to-do lists. She still felt nervous before exams. She still wanted to do her best, but something was different now. She had started to listen to her body. When she felt tired, she rested, even for a short while. When her chest felt tight, she took deep breaths and walked outside. When her thoughts raced too fast, she slowed down and wrote in her notebook. She called this her check-in time. Just 5 minutes each morning to ask herself, how do I feel today? What do I need right now? Am I pushing too hard? Sometimes the answer was simple. I need water. I need a walk. I need silence. Other times, it was deeper. I need to stop saying yes to everything. I need to forgive myself for making mistakes. She began to protect her time more carefully. She didn't go to every study group. She didn't take every extra shift. She started saying, I can't today, and didn't feel guilty for it. At first, some classmates were surprised. You're not joining the weekend review? Lena smiled and said, Not this time. I need rest. No one laughed. In fact, a few people later told her, I wish I could do that too. She realized many students were also tired, but they were afraid to say it. So, Lena started small conversations. After class, she would ask her classmates, How are you doing? Really? Some would just shrug, but others would open up. Honestly, I'm overwhelmed. I haven't slept in days. I feel like I'm always behind. And Lena would nod. Me too sometimes. Bit by bit, a new kind of connection started. Not just about grades or notes, but about real life. About fear, stress, and how to take care of yourself. One Thursday, Dr. Sarah gave her a short list called Signals of Stress. Lena read it. Can't sleep or sleep too much. Tired all the time. Angry over small things. No joy in things you used to love. Headaches, stomach aches. Always worried. Feeling alone, even in a crowd. She saw herself in those words, but now she also saw others. She showed the list to Maya and a few friends. They nodded quietly. They had felt many of those things too. So they had an idea. What if they made a space for students to talk about this? Not a class, not therapy, but just a small group. A place to breathe. A place to share. They asked the school for a room once a week. They called it the pause room. No tests, no pressure, just warm tea, calm music, and open hearts. The first week, only 5 people came. The second week, 12. By the fourth week, the room was full. Lena didn't lead every session. She didn't give advice. She just listened. Sometimes listening was enough. She was still studying, still working hard. But now, she knew when to stop. She knew that health wasn't something to add later. It had to come first. Still, the journey wasn't easy. Some days, the old Lena returned, the one who wanted to do it all. Be perfect. Please, everyone. And on those days, Lena would pause, take a breath, and remember, she wasn't trying to be perfect anymore. She was trying to be real. Part 5. The road ahead. The rain had just stopped. The air was fresh, and the ground was still wet. Lena walked through the vast campus garden, her steps slower than before. Not because she was tired, but because she had learned to take her time. Final exams were coming soon. There was still work to do. But something inside her had changed. She no longer lived in fear of failing. She had learned that stress doesn't disappear forever. It still came on busy mornings, during hard tests, in long nights. But now, she saw it early. She named it. She met it with care. Some days were better than others. Some days, she still felt the old pressure, the voice in her head saying, "Do more, be more, hurry up." But now, there was a second voice, quieter, kinder. It said, "You're doing enough. You're allowed to pause." That voice had grown stronger over time. She still studied, still tried, but now she also rested, laughed, talked, took walks, drank tea, watched clouds. She lived, not just survived. One evening, Lena stood in front of a group of first-year students. She had been invited to speak at a student wellness night. She looked at their young, bright faces and said, "I used to think being strong meant never stopping. Now I know. Real strength is knowing when to stop, when to ask for help, and when to say, 'I'm not okay,' and that's okay." There was silence for a moment, then quiet nods. Lena smiled. Her story wasn't finished. She was still learning, still growing. But for the first time in a long time, the road ahead didn't scare her. It felt open. It felt real. It felt hers. And she was ready to walk it, step by step.